welcome to another episode of Your Event. Now, there's always been one book that has captured the hearts of humanity. Its message, the very reason for our existence, the Quran. Its significance that has surpassed the digital age where many other books have been put to sleep. Now, like a phoenix rising out of the ashes of the written word, we are here in Manchester at the Sheriden Suite, where we are here for the launch of the new National Quranic Encyclopedia compiled by Dr Muhammad Tahir-ul-Qadri.
We're here to do our Quran Encyclopedia launch, and it's a work which is one of a kind and never been attempted before by one scholar.
Obviously, it's an honour to be a Muslim and in the UK, and to have the encyclopedia is going to be quite depth, because I think nowadays we're limited in finding genuine people with the sacred knowledge of Islam, because you get the extreme versions of everything. But with Shaykh al-Islam, because they're known for the fatwa launch, and they are in the UK for launching, for extremism, and the beauty of it is they're always related to not from personal opinions. The opinions are from the companions, from the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, and they're connected to the Holy Quran.
And there are over 5,000 subjects that are covered, and usually in the history of time, if there was science, a certain scholar would just look at science, and another scholar would look at theology. But this one scholar today, Dr Tahir-ul-Qadri, has covered over 5,000 subjects and done the work of over 5,000 people, I'd say, in one man. So it's a really special event for us, and the Quran, as you know, is a miracle, and inshallah we'll be here till the end of time.
So for me, they're a great master in this field, so it's an honour to be a part of this event.
When I first read that Dr Tahir-ul-Qadri had published and launched an 8-volume Quranic encyclopedia containing extensive analysis and discussions on 5,000 topics, and I've just heard here this afternoon 20,000 subjects, I wasn't as surprised as I was a few years before. Indeed, it gave me great pleasure to read the powerful words of an old friend of mine, a man of great integrity, formerly a UK parliamentarian, the MP for Glasgow Govan for over 13 years, who is now the Governor of Punjab, Muhammad Sawar. I'm going to quote his words delivered at the Punjab launch of the encyclopedia. And when having congratulated Dr Tahir-ul-Qadri, he described the encyclopedia as a massive work which delivers a great service to the people of Pakistan, humanity and Islam. Governor Sawar went on to say, and I'm going to quote him, "By reading the encyclopedia, one will get a lot of facilitation in understanding the meaning of the Holy Quran and the divine message based on love and peace, which should be spread around the world." He added that whosoever studies the Holy Quran with sincerity can neither go astray nor become an extremist. I'm going to finish with the words of another of my interviewees, now Prime Minister of Pakistan, Imran Khan. He said, "I'm a great fan of Dr Muhammad Tahir-ul-Qadri. I watched a TV program of Professor Sahib in 1985 in which he dwelt upon the interpretation of the Holy Quran. I liked the style and manner of the professor's speech, the way he explained the Holy Quran in its most simplified form and threw light on the meanings, details and context of the Quranic verses was fantastic. I became convinced of his qualities and his art of speech. At times I recommended to my friends that they should listen to Dr Tahir-ul-Qadri and to consult him for guidance on religious matters. Moreover, I like people who are hardworking and whose emotion contains enthusiasm and truth. Dr Tahir-ul-Qadri is one of such people who have zeal and truth in his emotions. Let me put it in another way," he said, "that the emotions are young. We are in dire need of such leaders today."
Now, if the Sheikh will permit me, I would like to say a few words about Dr. Zahid. And I would also like to offer you some of my opinions as a non-Muslim thinking about Muslim issues. So I first met Dr. Zahid as I had my breakfast, and he was on television being interviewed. And he was being interviewed about his counter-extremism work. And I thought he sounded very interesting and very wise and very sensible. And I made contact with him. And I was very lucky that he replied to my email. And over the last 1 or 2 years, we have become good friends. And so Dr. Zahid invited me to say a few words about his work for Al-Hidayah and Minhaj al-Quran. I have been lucky enough to attend events in Glasgow and Manchester, and very lucky to have Dr. Zahid with me in Cambridge. And I see the work he does in a way as being one of the best examples of integration and counter-extremism done in the UK. We all know that there are issues within British Muslim communities. I won't stand here and tell you things that you already know. However, let me say this. There are politicians and people in Parliament and at Westminster who think about issues to do with counter-terrorism and counter-extremism and integration and cohesion and all the other buzzwords that we hear a lot. And those people often talk about the negative aspects of Islam. We've all heard politicians speak about hate preachers and bad ideology and dodgy mosques, etc., etc., etc. But ladies and gentlemen, what we don't hear about in policy circles and amongst politicians and parliamentarians are the good aspects of Islam. And I believe that the solution to a lot of the problems comes from places like this and rooms like this and the work done by people such as Dr. Zahid. We also hear politicians and academics such as myself talk about issues of integration and exclusion. And often British Muslims are described as being excluded or marginalised or somehow powerless or somehow without a place in society. And whilst on one level that is true, I've met many young people over the last 2 days who suggest that young British Muslims have power and ideas and creativity and intelligence. And I would like to pay tribute to just 1 or 2 of them. So I met Zain, who is studying chemical engineering at Cambridge. I met Mabeen, a parliamentary researcher. I met Fayaz's son from Northampton, who is studying biomedicine at Royal Holloway University. I met very briefly a young student from Manchester University, and of course Sheikh's own family studying international relations and political science at Toronto. I've also met Hussein, a scholar, a master's scholar at York University. And these young people to me don't feel excluded and powerless. They feel intelligent and creative and the pioneers and the leaders of the next generation of British Muslims. Thank you.
Minhaj Welfare Foundation is a worldwide charity. We do a lot of charitable projects in the third world for the poor and the needy. But a big chunk of our donations are also received, and then we implement projects for research. So Minhaj Welfare Foundation sponsors and funds the research department, out of which this Quranic Encyclopedia gets produced, and a lot of other books also get produced. So all the scholars who are working behind the scenes doing all the research, there's a complete research cell in Manchester. So those researchers are partly funded by Minhaj Welfare Foundation. That's our interest in the whole event today.
I'm here from the University of Exeter, but I'm a local here from Manchester actually. And I'll be speaking a little bit about the new encyclopedia that's about to be launched today, but I'll be talking about that within the wider context of Quranic studies, especially in modern history?
There's almost about, I would say, about 3 years worth of research full-time, about 5 different scholars. The scholars are all British-born, they're all educated over here, they're all qualified over here. That's the unique thing about it, because we're not getting them translated from outside Britain, they're getting translated from people over here. That's pretty much our ethos, because they understand the language and the cultural sensitivities in the translation work that they do. And these scholars are working full-time, getting the references, getting the typesetting, and then from the research department it goes to a publication department, and they get busy getting the printed and everything like that. So about five scholars have been working on it full-time for over 3 years, getting all the material ready, getting all the research together, putting all the references together, the translations together. And of course it's a book that's put together by Shaykhul Islam. He does the script work, and then it's the scholars who who do the referencing and compiling it into a book format before it goes to the publishers. The primary research is done by Shaykhul Islam, who's the author of the book. Their job is to find the correct references and attach them to the work that's being done. So it's not a critical analysis that they're meant to be doing. They're meant to take this research work of Shaykhul Islam, put it in a book format, get all the authenticities, the references and everything together, and that's pretty much it. So it's not within the scholars' remit who are involved in this book to find differences or have a difference of opinion in that sense. When they're doing their own research work, they'll have difference of opinions and they'll produce their own work behind it.
I mean, look, he's a scholar and the work is done. People will be able to benefit from that, and hopefully from what they learn, this will transform their life. By transforming their life, they'll be able to enrich the society as a whole. So whether it's Manchester, Gorton, or it's in London or another part of the world, what we need to see is a better world. We only have one world, one humanity. We all need to reach out to one another to make this a beautiful, peaceful world. The serious point is we need more information. There's so much misinformation about Islam. So he's a scholar, he's a world-renowned scholar. So the work is done. I think centuries people will benefit from that. So I feel proud that they're doing the launch here in my city, Manchester.
And what will you be talking about today?
Well, first of all, welcoming him, thanking him for the work that he's done. And ultimately, you know, it's not the books, it's the actions. It's me and you, what we do, which is going to be the message to the rest of the world. So all of us need to take the responsibility seriously, reach out to people, give them the positive message of Islam. And there's no doubt that Islam has a beautiful message.
This is a very proud moment for them, because Shaykhul Islam has authored over 1,000 books, and he's described this book as the cream of all the work that he's done throughout his whole life. So this is a proud moment for Shaykhul Islam, so hence also for the scholars who've worked on these books over the last 3 years.
Will you therefore be recommending the Quranic Encyclopedia to your peers and perhaps other politicians in Parliament?
I think some of them, people like Boris Johnson, could do with reading it.
I agree. Do you think he will like it?
Well, it's his own heritage. He should know about it.
Like you said, it's all information. So you agree that it's for Muslims as well as non-Muslims, for everybody?
I mean, this has been always the case. Islam is for humanity. The Prophet is for the humanity. It's not for just Muslims. It's for anyone. It's about peace. It's about making sure we have fair and just world. I think whoever you are, whether you believe in Islam or not, we all want to see a better world.
I think university students are in need of resources, especially to do with the Quran. I'm always asked about which Quran translation shall we use. Do you have any resources that we can use to understand the Quran? Because they are very new to it often, especially our first year students. And then this particular encyclopedia will be useful not only for first year students, but I think for students throughout their degree courses and even masters and PhD level. It's a very useful resource. The contents are arranged very neatly, very precisely, and with lots of clarity. And that's one of the things I'll be talking about today, actually.
So we've got to make sure they've got the ethical values, they've got the right British values, as well as their Islamic identity as well at the same time. And they're just as generous for work that we need to do. So for us as a charity, it's an investment into the youth, so they can stay connected to the deen and the values of the deen, and they remain charitable in the future and keep donating towards different Muslim charities, carrying on for the next generation.
There's lots of information online that's not authentic. So when we check the references and see where the students are getting their information on, we're actually very keen to see are they using proper academic, authentic sources, because as you know, on the internet there's all sorts of stuff out there. For example, even Wikipedia, we don't allow a reference to Wikipedia. They have to go back to the original source. Now, Dr Tahir-ul-Qadri Sahib himself, he's an expert on the Quran. He's a scholar of great repute, which is not disputed by anybody. So if they're referencing a work like this is the kind of thing that we're looking for and the kind of thing that will be increasing their marks rather than just finding something random from the internet.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Brothers and sisters, good afternoon and Assalamu alaikum. And let me give you 3 things that you need to do. Only 3 things. And the first is, कहते हैं बच्चे को दीन सिखाएं, दीन जिंदगी सिखा देगा. तो ये काम है आपका. Teach your children. And the second thing you need to do is to strengthen the relationship of home, mosque, and school. All these three institutions must work for the child to make the child a good citizen. That is your duty. You have to do that. And the third thing is reach out. As a Muslim, we have a duty to reach out. Reach out, build alliances. There are many parents who want the same thing what you want for your children. So just these three things will deal with the issues you have. Finally, again, Sheikh Saab, as pleasure. I cannot tell you how excited I am to see you in Manchester. Because we think, Manchester has a famous saying that what we do today, rest of the world does tomorrow. For you honoring us to launch this encyclopedia, we will remember this, we will cherish this. Thank you very much.
I'll begin by mentioning the translation of the Quran of Hazrat Allama Dr. Tahir-ul-Qadri Sahib, and I will finish with the encyclopedia and just say a few things in the middle. When I picked up the translation, I know another translation is in progress now because this one is based on the Urdu, whereas a new unique translation is coming out in English, a fresh translation. I was pleasantly surprised actually, because one of the deficiencies and the shortcomings that we see in many of the Quranic translations is that the translators do not have a grip on Arabic grammar. They do not have a grip on the Arabic grammar, whereas this is one of the most fundamental things that an individual is required when translating the Quran. And you have to remember that the Quran revealed in Arabic is actually a literary miracle. Some people get confused about what is the miracle of the Quran. The actual miracle of the Quran is its literary miracle. And that's proven in the Quran itself, established by saying, فَأْتُوا بِسُورَةٍ مِّن مِثْلِ. Bring a surah like this surah. Meaning the challenge, the Quranic challenge against the non-believers about the miracle of the Quran was about the literary miracle of the Quran, the language and the linguistics of the Quran. And we know it was revealed in the period of Jahiliyyah. We call it Jahiliyyah, yet these were the most eloquent people on earth, the Arabs in the times of Jahiliyyah, and this was the context and environment in which that Quran was revealed. So if the miracle of the Quran lies in its literary masterpiece, being a literary masterpiece, then how can we not take notice of that in our translation? In fact, there is really no translation of the Quran, it's an interpretation. The originality in this encyclopedia that I have found, and I will be recommending it to my students in university, this will be recommended to them because it's a very useful resource, is in the way that Dr. Sahib has formulated the various headings. They say Imam Bukhari's ijtihad is in the Abwab of Bukhari. This is his ijtihad, right? Is his compilation. The headings of Shaykhul Islam, if you focus on them, you will see that he tackles all issues to do with aqidah, fiqh, history, seerah, and so on, the law of the Prophet, as well as speaking to all of those modern difficulties and problems and challenges that we face. The most pressing questions of the day have been addressed in this encyclopedia by way of its unwan. Don't think that this is any small task. This is a huge task, and to collect all those verses under those different headings. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the tawfiq to understand really those secrets of eloquence of the Quran. And I will be making a request as the Shaykh al-Islam in his translation that when it does come out, to bear this in mind, that where others have fell short, we believe, and we can already see in the first edition of the translation, Shaykh al-Islam's translation will stand strong on all different levels, on all different intellectual levels. And may Allah give this encyclopedia the success that it deserves because of the work, the tireless work that Hazrat Shaykh al-Islam has put into this. And if me, myself, or my Jamaat, and I would like to thank Hazrat Shaykh al-Islam, I should have said this at the start, for his condolences and for his sympathies and the tribute that he paid to my father, Allama Ahmad Isar Beg Rahmatullah Alayh. I really thank him for that. So on behalf of his whole Jamaat who is here today, and we are present today, we would really like to thank him for those words. Jazakumullahu khairan wa ahsan al-jaza.
MashaAllah.
this looks to be an absolutely amazing event. But this is not the first time you've had the launch. The Quran Encyclopedia was first launched in Pakistan. Why was that?
Yes, the first version was in Urdu, and our headquarters is in Pakistan, so that's why basically it was launched in Pakistan, where Sheikhul Islam, were the keynote speaker there as well. So now we have the English version ready to launch, so that's why we're having the launch in UK. As you have seen, it's not 1 o'clock was the time, and it's not 1 o'clock and people are coming inside. I think it's going to be around 2,000 people or even more than 2,000 people today, inshallah. This is a unique product of Minhajul Quran. Sheikhul Islam has published more than 550 books, and he has written 1,000 books. This is a unique, the piece which and the product Minhajul Quran is launching, because this will connect the community to the Quran, and people can find whatever they want about their life, about their culture, about Islamic values. You name it, from science to arts, it will be included in this Quranic Encyclopedia.
So was it difficult to get Dr. Muhammad Tahir-ul-Qadri himself here to the event today?
Well, obviously, because he is busy all around the world working in organization, it's difficult to get his time. But alhamdulillah, we were lucky enough to have him on the launch, inshallah, alhamdulillah, today.
I'm so excited to be here today. We have our Minhaj Sister stall here today, and I have the Minhaj Sister stall here today, and we are promoting a Tazkiyah, which is our annual retreat for sisters only, which takes place in the Midlands. So we're really excited because we're letting all the attendees know to come and attend our spiritual retreat, which is being headed by Dr. Ghazala Hassan Qadri. I mean, Sheikhul Islam, Dr. Muhammad Tahir-ul-Qadri, the way that they have done the tafsir, the way that they have interpreted the Quran is really in its modern context. It's very contemporary, and Sheikhul Islam's work and the organization Minhajul Quran really promotes the rights of women. It really promotes the idea of community service, the idea that women should be involved in that, because they truly believe that it is at the lapse of the mothers that children get their first education. So it's something that's been at the forefront of Minhajul Quran from the very beginning.
What is so significant about this Quranic encyclopedia? Why is this compendium such an historic ensemble of volumes? What was its need? One can spend hours upon hours expounding upon its virtues, but I will just take one short point in my brief talk. In the previous centuries, the great scholars of the Islamic world made Quranic knowledge easily understandable and relatable to the Muslims so that they could apply it in their daily lives. However, unfortunately, in the last few centuries, this connectivity of the Quranic knowledge with human life and its emerging problems has disappeared. As human society has become more and more complex, at the same time, our own connection with the Quran and its teachings has become more distant, particularly amongst the younger generation. Indeed, the biggest tragedy is that while many of us Muslims have disengaged with the teachings of the Quran and reduced it to a holy relic to be wheeled out in weddings or funerals, there are those who claim to be Muslims but have hijacked the Quran and its meaning to suit their own political agenda and needs. Verses, my brothers and sisters, have either been taken out of context or completely misinterpreted to further, for example, terrorist ideologies and terrorist activities, which is very sadly compounded by our own lack of knowledge and understanding of the Quran. So the beauty and significance of Sheikhul Islam's Quranic Encyclopedia is that if we really want to know what the Holy Quran which is the definitive authority in Islam. If we want to know the meaning about what and how to maintain relations between Muslims and non-Muslims, about the sanctity of human life, about the sanctity of human life irrespective of creed, color or race, if we want to know what the Quran says about protecting the rights, the lives and the properties of non-Muslims and their places of worship, if we want to know about freedom of religion, if, my brothers and sisters, we want to know which verses condemn violence, which verses condemn indiscriminate bombings and suicide bombings, if we want to know, my brothers and sisters, where in the Quran this is stated, then all you need to do is take the first volume of the encyclopedia, go onto the headings, look at the titles, and you will find all of these verses in one place, one together.
Paul, why are you here today at this important event?
Well, I was invited along and I thought this is a wonderful event, and the launch of a Quranic Encyclopedia is a great thing, and we should congratulate Sheikh al-Islam for doing this, and I hope it benefits a lot of people.
Inshallah. And why is this important to the Association of British Muslims in particular?
Well, we're always interested in what our scholars are doing, and to educating people and disseminating information is part of what we do, so we're always interested in that.
This is a very important work done by Shaykh al-Islam, Dr Muhammad Tahir-ul-Qadri, that he has gifted to us. It is very significant in the aspect that it helps students, teachers, not only students and teachers, but parents and children, those who can read and write, to reference certain aspects of the Quran which were not easily accessible otherwise. So this Quranic encyclopedia is more than an index. In fact, you can find almost every topic and many other aspects relating to that particular topic throughout the Quran just by looking up in one particular area.
I think when you live in an environment where people don't have the in-depth knowledge of the Quran, this will make Islam so much easier. The fact that it's in the English language, for the younger generation, this is really important. Part of my role, I work as a chaplain in the prison service, so having something like this is a massive asset.
Because Islam is a fully fledged religion, 20% less than that is regarding worship. Everything else, what about the rest of the 80% of Islam? It's all in the Quran. It's just a matter of us accessing it. And the Quranic Encyclopedia has made it easier for us to understand that and to access these hidden gems inside the Quran, which they are dispersed all over the Quran, but the Quranic Encyclopedia has placed them all topic-wise in one particular area. The references of the various chapters and the ayat of the Quran have been given as well, so it makes it much easier for them. So on a daily aspect, any student or any person who is stuck on any particular issue regarding Islam and wants a direct access from the Quran and wants to get the particular verse from the Quran, can get it by help with this Quranic encyclopedia.
One of the problems is a lack of understanding of the Quran based upon learning it in a language that people understand. So I mean, it's like people might learn in the mosque how to recite the Quran in Arabic, and they can become a Hafiz even, but they don't necessarily understand what it says. And also some of those things need explaining because they're in a 7th century context. So this is why it's very important to have these encyclopedias and to have tafsirs, so that people don't jump to any conclusions when they first read something, and that they understand things properly.
I think with everyone, every individual who is of the Muslim faith, people that don't have anything of Islam, you've got to remember we're a very diverse community. Some of us have a lot more knowledge than others, but having an item there, an encyclopedia there that we can just go to on basic issues or basic topics, I just think it's made life a lot more easier. Yes, we have the Holy Quran, alhamdulillah, but this is putting it into an easier context for maybe next generations to come.
An encyclopedia has to be in-depth. There are certain other encyclopedia available, but they are just a collection and combination of various articles. This particular encyclopedia is in-depth. You get a you could say a micropedia and a macropedia all in one. You get simple summaries of various ayat, various verses of the Quran regarding the topic that you are looking for, and then you get a deeper summaries, a deeper discussion of the same thing in another aspect, another area of that encyclopedia as well.
I don't think this is all we need, but this is a start. Obviously, at the end of the day, every one of us knows you need to have scholars around you that you can go back to, that can guide you and explain a certain verse or an ayah. It's not as simple as that, but I think life will be a lot easier, though. It's not. I think it's just the process of your learning.
The Urdu version of the Quranic Encyclopedia, that basically sold like hotcakes. Over 15,000 sets were sold in less than a year. And the English language is far more vast when compared to the Urdu language. So of course this Quranic Encyclopedia, we expect it and anticipate it's going to do far more better, and more people are going to be encouraged to take home sets, especially today, or purchase them later on as well. And our students, they were, yes, of course, you asked the question, were they enthusiastic? Of course they were. When the sample sets arrived at the college, all the students wanted to look at it. What is it about, and let us get our hands on to this and everything. A lot of them, they've actually purchased their sets in advance, and they've reserved them as well because they know that it is going to help them further in study as well. Even if you are not a student, it's going to help you there as well.
It's got benefits both to people who are already Muslims so they can understand Islam better, and also for people who, there's so many misconceptions about Islam out there, and people who think the Quran says things which it doesn't say, and stuff like that. And of course it will benefit people who want to research these things properly and understand things in a better way.
Honorable guests and speakers, respectable scholars, intellectuals, academics, journalists, and people belonging to different walks of life, and all of my dear brothers and sisters and beloved sons and daughters. There are two forces. There are two embodiments. One is embodiment of good, other is embodiment of shar, the evil. The good and the evil. The embodiments of good are malaika. The embodiments of shar, the evil, they are shayateen. So in Quran, malaika comes at 88 times in Holy Quran. The word malaika. And the word shayateen also occurs at 88 times in the Holy Quran. There was no Google in the time of Holy Prophet. There is al-jaza, another interesting thing. There is a sabr and a shiddah, the troubles and hardship. When hardship comes in your life, you need patience, you need sabr. You need sabr. The mentioning of ashiddah, the hardship, the trouble, it has occurred in 102 times. And sabr, the word sabr, has been used 103 times. For shiddah, the trouble, hardship, and patience and steadfastness. After creating a balance, 102, he says, make 1 plus in the case of patience. Keep your patience higher than the hardship. Al-hayat, life, and al-maut, death. Maut comes, this word has occurred 145 times. And al-hayat, the life and its derivatives, all derivatives, including the words and derivatives, has also occurred 145 times. Life and death equal. As-salihat, good deeds, And as-sayyi'at, bad deeds, bad actions. Bad actions, as-sayyi'at, has occurred 167 times. And removing it, al-hasanatu yuzhibna sayyi'at, as-salihat yuzhibna sayyi'at. As-salihat, this word also occurred at 167 times. Look at this equation. This is not by chance. This is not created by someone. This is not computer generated. A book revealed in 23 years. Nobody can remember what word was revealed how many times. But in the end, look at these equations. These equations talk that this book is divinely revealed and it is nothing but the ultimate truth. There are many examples. Just giving one more. The word rajul or rajulan, male, and the word imra'ah, female, man and lady. The word male has occurred 24 times, and female, the lady, women, has also occurred 24 times, giving the message that the rights of the men and women are equal. Giving the message of equality. There is no sex discrimination in Quran. The word man mentioned in 24 times. The word woman mentioned 24 times. Now, last aspect and more interesting, the last. Regarding the same miracle of the Holy Quran, miracle. Equation between the numbers of synonyms. That was equation between antonyms. Now equation, the proportional equation between the numbers of synonyms. The word day, in the form of al-yawm or in the form of yawman. Al-yawm or yawman. The word day has occurred in Holy Quran at 365 times. And there are 365 days in the whole year. This was never generated by computer. This was not the creation of human mind. This is the ultimate divine truth. Get attached to it. Day. The word day is mentioned 365 times. Who can calculate at that time that this word has come 365 times in Quran? Now we have calculated when in the days of computer, in the days of these encyclopedias, now we have calculated. While working on my encyclopedia works, I have calculated now these things. I have gone through the books, through the literary works and the research of the researchers. When computer came up, emerged, now this knowledge came to us. Another word. And another, this is the day, singular. And the word day, plural or double, ayyam or yawmain, in its plural form. The days in its plural form has occurred in the Holy Quran at 30 times. And there are 30 days full of a full month. 30 days of a full month. Then come to the word ash-shahr and shahran. Month, the word month. For 1 month, ash-shahr, mahina. This word has come in the Holy Quran 12 times. And there are 12 months of the year. This is not computer generated. This is the ultimate truth revealed on Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. One has to believe that Holy Prophet Muhammad was the true messenger of Almighty Allah. And the Quran is the true book of Almighty Allah. Another thing, the word Ramadan, the month of fasting, the Ramadan has come once in Holy Quran. And the word month, Shahr, has come 12 times. It means months are 12 in a year, but Ramadan will come only once. This was not the plan of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This was the plan of ultimate truth. The word sa'ah, hour, without preceding by any letter or by any verb or noun. I am confining, I am being very specific. Not preceded by any letter nor by any verb or noun. Without this connection, just a sa'ah in itself, hour, it has occurred in Holy Quran at 24 places. And there are 24 hours of the whole day. Moreover, the word tawaf, at-tawaf, it has occurred in Holy Quran 7 times. And everyone knows that there are 7 circulations of the sacred house of Allah, the Kaaba. 7 circulations of the 7 tawaf of Kaaba. And the world has been mentioned 7 times in Holy Quran. This is numerology. This is mathematics. This is divine mathematics, divine numerology. Moreover, just pay attention to me, very significant point. The word as-sajda, prostration. Sajda, prostration. You know, 5 times daily prayer, 5 prayers. Can you count how many prostrations there are in 5 times prayer in total? 17. Fajr, 2 rakah. Zuhr, 4 rakah, 4 cycles. Asr, 4 cycles. Maghrib, 3 cycles. Isha, 4 cycles. And every cycle has 2 prostration, 2 sajda. So total are 17 cycles, rak'ah of faraid. And multiply by 2 sujood in 1 rak'ah. So total sujood prostrations are 34. And the word sajda has occurred 34 times in the Holy Quran. The word sajda has occurred 34 times in the Holy Quran. As-salawat. The word as-salawat. How many fard prayers do we have? 5? How many? The word as-salawat has occurred 5 times in the Holy Quran. 5 times. Aqimis salah and aqimus salah. Establish the prayers. Establish the prayer. How many cycles are in the whole day? 17. In 5 prayers, how many cycles? How many rak'at? 17. Aqimis salat, aqimus salat has occurred 17 times in the Holy Quran. For every cycle, the hukm, aqimis salat has come. And the last point, when we go in journey while traveling, we read qasr. We read qasr. Can you calculate while traveling, how many cycles become in qasr prayer, all the 5 prayers? Fajr remains 2. Fajr remains 2. Zuhr become 2. Asr become 2. Maghrib remains 3. And Isha become 2. How many total number? 11. While we are traveling the qasr. The word qasr in Holy Quran has come 11 times. 11 times. This is a great miracle of the Quran, which the computer, Google, and computer science has established and found out from the Quran. 1400 years after the Quran was revealed. There are thousands and thousands of aspects. Up till now, I have not touched the subject of encyclopedia. It is still on my right hand. I could not enter the time is finished. We have to pray Asr. Just I wanted you to introduce to Holy Quran. Just by giving a few examples. The reason is so that we may get connected with the Quran and we may get connected with the union of the presence of Almighty Allah through the Holy Quran. So this Quranic Encyclopedia, which it is my humble, very, very humble effort, it is just key, it is a key to connect you to the Quran. This is how you will develop a longing and love for the Holy Quran. Definitely it is difficult for a common man who wants to study anything from the Holy Quran. How will he find? There are 6,600 and plus verses of Holy Quran, and every single subject has been discussed at various places. Anyone a researcher, a scholar, an alim, a teacher, a student, a common man, he wants to study one subject directly from Quran under single caption at one place. And he has no time, no ability, no access to go to many books and tafasir. He may spend the whole life. So what this encyclopedia will do, just open the first whole volume is on the table of contents. Then 7 volumes are the details. Take the table of content, take out any subject, any chapter, any heading, any subheading, then all relevant and important material and content of the Holy Quran, scattered in 114 surah, have been put together under one caption at one place. It has become easy for teachers, easy for students. I would say to all those who love me, higher than me, who love the Quran, who love their deen of Islam, who love the knowledge which Almighty Allah and Holy Prophet has given, who love Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who brought this book of Quran for us, and who love Almighty Allah, and who are humble servants of the ilm, knowledge. They want to receive the ilm. This should be the part of everybody's personal library in their house. Get connected to it. It will enrich your speeches, your talks. It will enhance your understanding. It will open the new doors, new galleries and new galaxies of the Quranic knowledge, which has no end. This will open the locks. It will connect you to the knowledge of Holy Quran. When you connect to the knowledge of Holy Quran, then Almighty Allah will open the doors of His marifah to you. It has been mentioned by certain speakers and scholars and other people. I don't need now. The time has finished. You need anything related to matters of faith, related to matters of acts of worship, related to muamalat, the human behaviors, human interactions, related to your family, related to the wife's rights, children's rights, father's rights, husband's rights, neighbor's rights, relatives, related to economic matters, political matters, establishment of state, the courts, the judges, the cases, the right and the wrong, the Muslims and non-Muslims, related to the rights and obligations of people, obligations of animals, of non-Muslims, of state, the rulers, the ruled. Enter into the morals, good morals, bad morals, adab, the manners, good manners, bad manners, local laws, international laws, constitutional laws, the laws of peace, the laws of war, anything which you want to study from Quran. This humble service would help you to enter into the knowledge of Quran, inshallah.
What an amazing afternoon we have had here in Manchester. The launch of the first National Quranic Encyclopedia may be over, but the excitement, the awe, and of course just the general buzz of the afternoon carries on. And of course, all thanks to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and a big thanks also to Muhammad Tahir-ul-Qadri. Of course, without him, we would not have that encyclopedia. And of course, may all the knowledge that he has put into that encyclopedia benefit us all, inshallah. For now, assalamu alaikum.